Hello everyone, Jason Hagholm here. Just officially got back from covering Unified 55 at Rebel Entertainment Complex here in Toronto, Ontario, with Dana White in attendance as it was the filming of the latest episode of Dana White Looking for a Fight. Obviously, this is the biggest weekend we've had in quite some time for Canadian mixed martial arts, and Unified, they put on a really impressive show with a lot of Canadian talent that are going to go places, even if most of them don't get signed. And I mean, only a handful of contracts can go out tonight. Let's just go kind of break down this card quickly. First of all, thank you to Eddie Law from Cage Side Press for letting me cover the event. I have some interviews that we'll be bringing your way very shortly from this event. And there was a lot of all the winners that were there that we got access to. Great thoughts, great comments, very accessible, and that's what you want out of MMA and MMA fighters, especially at this level. But John Nguyen, Matteo, Vogle for the Unified Featherweight Championship win, came in defending the title against Matteo Vogle. Just an absolute war, really. Vogle looked like he was going to put this one away in the first round, but somehow, credit to Nguyen, he was able to fight the hands, get out of the bad position, make Matteo really burn up a lot of energy, really hurt his arms, and you could tell by the last round and a half of the fight that he was running on E. But Nguyen survived that, ate some punches in full mount from Vogel towards the end of the round, and then it was just kind of a back and forth fight. Vogel was able to win the fight, become the new unified featherweight champion. That's his second featherweight title in Canadian mixed martial arts. He was the BFL featherweight champion and out in Vancouver, and now he's the unified featherweight champion. And I think really Matteo Vogel, if he doesn't get a contract, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's got title defenses to make here at Unified, but I think it's his time when you look at the guys Matteo Vogel has fought. I mean, even just look, UFC 297 goes down as of recording this at 1:02 p.m. Tonight, and he's beaten Siri City, who's making his UFC debut. He's beaten Garen Armfeld on the regional scene in CFFC, who's going to be fighting tomorrow night. He's just fought the best of the best around. He's always an exciting fighter. Great grappler. As a striker, he takes some punches, but he can come forward and put the pressure on. And you know what? Nguyen as well. He proved that his worth really by not going out on his shield, not being finished in front of Dana White, and really putting on a great fight. And I know that he will be back. The co-main event was Dricus du Plessis' main training partner, Mark Hilme, against Zachary Powell. Honestly, it was just a 30-27 across the board for Mark, and he really, was able to just execute the takedowns, control Powell on the ground, and right away the decision. I don't think it was, Mark told us in the media, it wasn't his best performance. He took this fight on super short notice, even found out when he was just arriving in Canada, clearing his in customs, that he had a fight super short notice here against Zachary Powell. Powell, this is his first fight back in MMA since 2022, when he picked up a unanimous decision victory over Bat Krako at Unified 44. So, I mean, he took some time away, was kind of burnout from the sport, thought about retiring. It's only the second loss here for Powell, and really the first official loss for him. If you remember his fight in BFL against Dario Sinagogo, I think that's one of the biggest travesties to ever happen, not just Canadian MMA, but MMA. Nonetheless, good win for Mark. Sets the tone for his teammate and for everyone in South Africa, and for the Fight Fit Militia. Going to be a big weekend still to come up for the team. And yeah, this is a great performance on super short notice. Moving on, we had Pat Pitlick and Ryan Leninger. I mean, this was a huge step here for Pat Pitlick against a guy in Leninger who was, 10-4 coming into this fight. Had fought in some of the biggest shows in the United States with LFA. He had a chance to win a contract as well on the contender series, or not on the contender series, but in front of Dana White. Had some title opportunities there, fought, FAC, LFA, as I mentioned before. But Pat Pitlick, a guy that, hadn't been as active spent some time, getting married, enjoying the fruits of his labor. That, but this guy, he just went out there, he blew away Leninger. He's now on a 2-fight win streak. Hadn't fought in over a year since his last fight was December of 2022, Unified's first show in the province of Ontario, and he just put him away with ease, super quick. Probably the front runner to win a UFC contract. I mean, only hindrance could be his age. He's 34 years old. Going to be 35 this April, but you can't deny it. You're 9-1, and all 9 wins have come by KO TKO. That's kind of the action style fighter Dana White is looking for. If anything, if a contract doesn't come, I could see Pitlick being on the Contender Series, and that's a guy that's always exciting. Representing my hometown of Kitchener, Ontario, and he told us he thought this fight would be a lot tougher. Was kind of surprised at how much Leninger didn't really put up much of a fight in that bout. We had then Ricky Mendeas, Michael Imperato. Huge win for Michael Imperato. Takes on the Bellator veteran on short notice and puts Mendeas away in about 30 seconds with a beautiful scramble, taking the back, rear naked choke victory for Imperato. And he as well is probably a big front runner to get a contract tonight from the UFC. Had one in his hand, signed, ready to go before it was terminated by the UFC. But now he's been through the battles he's fought, all through Canadian MMA, from the prairies out west to in his home province and his home city of Toronto. This is a great win for Imperato against especially a guy that of the experience that Mendeas has fought in his MMA career. Fighting, all those years in Bellator, a big staple before getting to Bellator and CFFC, Combate, Eagle FC, XMMA. This is a huge win for Michael Imperato, and he probably, once again, if he doesn't get a contract, which I think he may, probably Contender Series would be there. And good for Michael Imperato, because I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. And then as well, we had Mohamad Ado versus Chris Chapman. Ado moves to 4-0. All 4 wins come by finish. And Ado really proves that this is a guy that with a striking background, who 3 of those 4 wins are now by rear naked choke. He picks up a 3rd round rear naked choke victory over the always game Chris Chapman. Ado said he was hurt coming into this fight, so we maybe didn't get the best performance from him, as he didn't get to spend much time training. But nonetheless, this is a guy that I still would keep my eyes on. Maybe, this being a fight at 175 pounds, catch weight kind of hurts a bit, but still maybe a little bit more seasoning for Ado. But really, trains with Matteo Vogle. This is a guy that I think is really going to go places, because once you can't knock a guy that all his fights end by a finish, and Ado moves to 4-0 with another impressive 3rd round rear naked choke. The prelims wrapped up with Tom Theokaris, the Greek warrior, taking on Robert Dunn. Well, Dunn was done in about 32 seconds. Just a beautiful combination from Tom Theokaris. Punch that landed right on the jaw of Dunn, and Dunn went to sleep. Tom Theokaris, 2 fights in Unified, a combined 47 seconds, moves to 9-5. I think the biggest thing that Theokaris told us is that he'd love to, be a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter. Feels that not only does he have the great skills, he's got a good look for it, but he's got a personality that could really fit out on the reality show. And, Dana's always looking for guys to be on The Ultimate Fighter. And Tom could be one of those guys. And I think as well, he could maybe bounce around between 170. He fought this one fight at 170. I could maybe see him as well. I believe it's middleweights they're looking for this season, middleweights and featherweights. I could see him maybe picking up the 15 pounds. And if the opportunity is there to be on The Ultimate Fighter, for sure be there. Ryan Yapsum, Kareem Henan, these are 2 studs for the future at 135 pounds here in Canada. And Kareem Henan, he picked up the win over Ryan Yapsum. Henan moves to 3-0, wins a split decision. Got out of some bad spots. Yapsum had him in some trouble on the ground with guillotine. Nonetheless, Henan was able to take control of the fight with the striking that he's got the advantage of there. And he feels that, it's his time right now to be the best bantamweight in all of Canada. Moves to 3-0, and he's really on that progression there to become that. I mean, Ryan Yapsum, I saw he posted a thing on his social media saying he didn't fight that well, which is unfortunate. But if he didn't fight that well and he took this fight to a split decision, I think that shows just how talented Yapsum is. I still have lots of respect. Yapsum may be 2-1, but he's one of the best prospects in all of Canadian MMA. Dorian Dokai moves to 4-1-1 with a 30-second finish over Cal Kostiniak. Nonetheless, Dorian Dokai, guy hadn't fought in over a year, no cage rust, told us that he was probably going to go for a run tonight. He's maybe running somewhere downtown Toronto. This is a guy that really, at 185 pounds, I think can go places in Canadian MMA, maybe contender series or him being on the Ultimate Fighter as well. Just always so motivated, always intense, takes this fight game very seriously. And, credit to Cal for taking this fight because, Dorian had a lot of advantage, but in terms of experience, but Cal, always a gamer, training there with Mean Lee Mean, out there in Lethbridge, Alberta. Always a gamer, and always gamers are those guys. And just really a good learning experience here for Cal. And then we started things off with Fedras Niami versus Nate Small. Niami really just put the pressure on Nate Small, landed some great combinations, hurt Small a couple times. Maybe Niami's gas tank ran a little on E towards the end of the third round, but nonetheless, he won a unanimous decision over Nate Small. Basically, I think Niami, he was excited to get the opportunity to fight in his home country, in his home city, because he's always wanted that. Made his pro debut out in Pennsylvania. This is a guy that's trained with Bo Nickel when Bo Nickel was at Penn State. Roman Bravo Young when he was at Penn State. He's really becoming a well-rounded fighter, and he just can do it. Mix it all up. And the first round management prospect has a lot of great things going for him down the stretch. He's spending some time at the Mat Factory, cross training as well with Niagara Top Team. One of the main guys he trained with ahead of this camp was Siri Sidi, who, as we talked about, he's making his UFC debut tomorrow night, or I guess tonight now at UFC 297 in Toronto. And I just looked at, Siri 6 years ago, he was a prospect like what Niami is right now. And I think that's going to be a good trajectory for Niami. Being a little bit more getting to be active here this year in 2024 is going to be big for him. I think he will be. He's got a good management team behind him, and he's just got a lot of talent. So, with the kickboxing, the Muay Thai, mixing in the wrestling, he's going to be the complete package with just getting that more cage time and that experience. But all in all, just a real fun event to cover. Always, great to see some of, the many faces of MMA around. Great to hang with some of the media. Great to be around and just be in Toronto for this amazing event. But that'll do it for me for now. I got to get some sleep. It's been a busy day. It'll be an even busier day tomorrow. So peace out. Have a good one, everyone.